Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. This is Marilyn Gale. Listen, guys, you've read the title of this podcast, and frankly, it's hard for me to feel anything towards this guy. Let me just tell you what the article says, and then I'll give you my spin on it. The wife of a Missouri Ku Klux Klan leader admitted Friday to fatally shooting her husband. Melissa Ankana was sentenced to life in prison Friday under a deal in which she pled guilty to second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and abandonment of a corpse in the February 2017 death of Frank Ankana Jr. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reported Ankana, who had identified himself as a Ku Klux Klan Imperial wizard, had recently asked his wife for a divorce, according to officials and court records. Now, Melissa initially reported her husband as missing, and a family fishing in southeast Missouri found his body near a river days later. She later claimed her son shot him while he was sleeping. The son, Jenkinson, faces the same charges as his mother. However, Friday, his mom says he had no role in the shooting. She said he helped clean up the crime scene and helped dump the body, the walls of the bedroom, and dispose of bloody linen. Now, Melissa told Circuit Judge Wendy Horn that she fired both shots that killed her husband. Melissa originally told police her son shot her husband with a 9mm handgun and agreed to testify against him last year. She reversed herself in a letter from jail and said she was under the influence and couldn't recall what happened. During Friday's court hearing, Frank Ankana Sr. told the judge he was forced to identify his only son's body and his son had no face left. He says his son was planning on leaving Melissa and called her a bad wife. Ankana's daughter, Carolyn Ankana, through her tears, said, "He didn't deserve this. No one deserved this." Well, Carolyn, no one deserves this. I imagine no one deserved being terrorized or killed because of the color of their skin. We all know how the KKK feels about minorities. We all know what they stand for. They are a notorious gang with no significance. And your father being an imperial, I can't even say it right, imperial leader or wizard, whatever they call it. You live by the sword and you die by the sword. Like how many minorities, blacks to be exact, are dead by the hands of your dad? I can't even say I'm sorry for your loss. I don't know you. You said nobody deserves this, so it sounds like you have some empathy in your heart. And I hope that's true. And if it is, I'm sorry you lost your dad, but I'm not sorry that he can no longer hurt people anymore. This man's life, by being in the Ku Klux Klan, was based on hate. It's hard to see his last name Ankana and not think of anaconda. You know, the snake that will swallow you whole. The snake that will slither and hide behind places to attack unsuspecting victims. The snake that is a predator and mindlessly go after their victim, that would hang innocent black people from trees just for the sport of it. Investigate the word picnic. I'm not going to go over it now because I don't want to leave some images just in case some minors are listening to me. Now, they should know about the Ku Klux Klan. They should be mindful of what's going on in this country right under our noses. But to describe where they got the word picnic, I know if you look in some dictionaries, you'll see a different meaning. But if you investigate and research the right sources, you'll see where that word comes from. Can you imagine, getting back to Frank and his wife, Melissa, can you imagine the hate that was in that household? How could it not be the head of the household's philosophy was centered in hate? And then the mom blaming the son initially and then willing to testify against him. The so-called victim saying she was a bad wife. Who knows what she had to endure? Or did she have just as much hate in her heart as him, as the Imperial wizard, her husband? The daughter says he did not deserve this. Well, right now at this very moment, he is getting what he deserved. Oh, I believe he's getting what he deserves. And don't ask me to feel sorry. I can't seem to muster up one single tear. Now it is written we are to love our enemies, which is very hard to do. And I'm trying. I'm not there yet, but I'm really, really trying. But right now, the best I can do is to be indifferent. Now, being an imperial wizard, to me, you have to have so much hate in your heart to group together, as the Klan does, to plan others' destruction because you don't like the color of their skin, or you think you are superior. Mind you, I said think. A lot of pride because you were born with a lighter complexion, which in the scheme of things don't mount to a hill of beans. The hatred that was in Frank and Connor's heart, the very essence of hate, came upon him by way of his wife. See, when you dig a hole for other people, you tend to fall into it yourself. He had a philosophy of hate. Those who are innocent in his family of the madness, the hateness, I'm sorry you have to go through this, but I am not sorry that his wife, who I think knew him best, felt she had to do what she had to do. Now, I'm not saying murder is right, but maybe she felt an eye for an eye. Okay, was he planning something against her? Did he tell his father that he was planning a divorce and that she was a bad wife to build evidence. Maybe he was going to do something to her and she felt she had to. I'm just speculating. This is all alleged. This is all alleged information, that part of it. Because someone with that kind of hate, I'd be glad to divorce them. But like I said, maybe she had just as much hate in her heart, so it's easy for her to do this. So there's so much more I could say about this, but I'm not going to give it any more light. I'm not going to give it any light. I'm not going to give it any more attention. One last jerk in the world, and I was being very polite by saying jerk. One less booty hole in this world to contend with. One less hater in this world. Now, there's a lot of non-blacks that are also appalled at the Ku Klux Klan. And then with the state of this country, with the leader that we have, with the leader of this country, the so-called leader, saying that there are some good people in these groups, in white supremacy, and then we wonder why this world is the way it is, this country, why these types of groups still exist. He is giving them carte blanche, in my opinion. But to the non-blacks that are appalled at this type of group, thank you for not falling in with the madness. And maybe you can help in eradicating such groups. They've been around for a long time. But even if you can't eradicate it, thank you for not joining in on it. And I really mean that. So I'm kind of just not wanting her to get the life sentence for second-degree murder when I've seen people get out of jail in 7 years or so. I'm thinking of one particular case for second degree, or was that manslaughter? I'm not sure. But anyway, I kind of hate that she got life. And then her son has the possibility of getting the same punishment. I mean, even not knowing her, whether she was abused or whether she was just as hateful, I still the only thing I feel at this point is, she got rid of a roach. So that's what I have today, guys. Thank you for joining me. And don't forget to follow me. I'll have other stories, other podcasts, but I just wanted to bring you this. I've had this story ready to do this podcast, but I just didn't want to do it over the resurrection. Happy resurrection to all of belated resurrection to all of you guys, but I just didn't want it to do it over the Easter weekend. Not this type of story, to celebrate the resurrection of Christ. Nah, I just didn't want it. To me, that was bad timing, so I waited. But anyway, thank you again for joining me. Thank you all the new subscribers to my channel, and have a good evening. Good night.